pick that up a little bit. The other way you can teach this is to give everybody a number. So it's 1 on the low note, 2 on the octave higher, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3. So sometimes people just sing their number while they're playing, and that just helps you to keep your place. And then just double the numbers. Numbers are good. Well, we wouldn't start with that. But it's just another way to use bells without reading music. You know, if you give everybody a number, if you kind of line them up in order, it just gives them a chance to hear that. Yes?
It's change ringing.
That is change ringing. That's what brought handbells to America. That's exactly right. Okay, now, also in your packet should be this responsorial song from yesterday. If anybody of you use respondent and playing, that any chant-like song will work. So I did this yesterday with Handbell Choir, and what we did was we rang the chords while the cantor was singing. So check your key signature. And you can see that I drew in the upper notes just to give more people an opportunity to ring. So the E6 and G sharp 6, I actually drew in. On the second chord, the D sharp 6 and the G sharp 6. So as many notes that we have here in front of us, that's what we're going to play. Did everybody find it? It looks like this.
It says 28th Sunday right there.
Yeah. 28th Sunday? Yes, 28th Sunday. Okay, so let's look at the bottom 2 lines where it says sing to the Lord a new song. So C sharp 4, G sharp 4, E5, G sharp 5, E6, G sharp 6. 1, 2, I should hear 6 notes playing the first chord. Okay? So remember our sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Okay.
We don't have a C sharp.
Yes, you do. Well, it's on.
Oh, it's over there.
Somewhere.
Here's one. It's down here.
Okay. Sorry. So can I hear that first chord? C sharp, G, G sharp, E, G sharp, and then the extra E and G sharp at the top. Ready, ring. So that's what we did first. Sing to the Lord, and then switch to the next chord. Do you see where we are?
Yeah.
Okay. It should be D sharp.
Sorry.
D sharp. That's okay.
I'm sorry, he has D sharp. Right? No, I have it here. Sorry.
Let's go back to the first chord. Chord 1. Here we go. Sing to the Lord a new song. Good. Now look, before you ring, look at the second line. There's going to be a quarter note sound in there. For he has done wondrous deeds. Do you see what the change is?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you guys are good. Second line. For he has done wondrous deeds. And what I prefer is to hear the chord first, and then the cantor starts to sing. So we're on the second line. Ready? Ring. For he has done wondrous deeds. And then back up to the rest of the first verse. Chord. His right hand has won victory for him. On the word his. His holy right. So that gives you a chance to, again, use chimes on the song. So could we just do the refrain once, do verse 1, and back to the refrain, and then we'll move on to something else. Okay?
You want to play it once through?
Yeah, I think we got it. Just start and finish. Here we go. The Lord has revealed to the nations his saving love. Sing to the Lord a new song, for he has done wondrous deeds. His right hand has won victory for him. His just that idea. Next, if you could look for Alleluia, Give Thanks. While you're looking for Alleluia, Give Thanks, I have to give thanks to John Miller, our old friend John Miller. When I was taking organ lessons from him, I was getting ready for my lesson, and he said, oh, let me show you this. Have you ever seen this before? And I hadn't. He said, here's a little shorthand way to write chords for your bell ringers to ring. He said, just write the letter names of the chords, put the rhythm above that, and off you go. So he was my first instructor in this manner. But then, as Jim will show you, somebody else got that idea, and there are published books.
Published books, and they're all written in this way, with just, there you go.
The letter names, and then the note value above.
You have doing Nicaea anytime? It's right here.
Yeah.
And your ringers, it takes a little while to get used to this.
Right.
But boy, once they do,
You can learn a hymn in no time.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're just starting out with a handbell choir at your church, you could play the opening hymn, maybe accompany the psalm, maybe find something you could do on the Alleluia, and then play the closing hymn. And that would be just plenty for your very, very, very first time ever. And then we can add into more of
add
that.
one more little bit. 2 of these books are reproducible.
Oh, right.
So you just buy the book and you can make as many copies as you want.
Yeah.
That's becoming more of a thing in
Handbell.
handbells, is reproducible music.
Yeah.
Big money saver.
So let's play Alleluia, Give Thanks. So any octave that you are in, you have an F4, F5, or F6. And the same thing with the A's and the C's. So any octave you're in is fine. We all play the same chord. Okay, so measure 1. Remember, we're in 3/4. 1, 2, 3. Ring 2, 3. Measure 2. 2, 3. Measure 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3. On Jim showed you, on the dotted half notes, you could do rings, and you could do 3. You could do that. All right, so are we ready to do this again? And this time we're going to sing. 1, 2. Alleluia, Alleluia. Give thanks to the Lord. Alleluia, Alleluia. Give praise to Jesus. A little faster. The other one I love to do is I Am the Bread of Life, just on the refrain. Sing a new song. And that's just 1 chord per measure. Sing a new song. So just 1 3-beat. Okay, so those are all good. I think I put in, okay, I gave you this one, To Jesus Christ is Risen Today. So that's a long one. That's through the whole entire hymn, not just the refrain. So we'll do that, I think, some other time. On Immaculate Mary, I wanted you to experience one that is professionally published. So this is out of one of the books that we used. So let's play through Immaculate Mary. Okay? Immaculate Mary, I've also used with children, and I had them only ring on the refrain and the Ave part. And oh, those little smarty pants, what did they do? But they memorized it, so they were able to they didn't even have to look at the chords after a week or 2. So let's play Immaculate Mary. At the top of this one, it does have the bells used. So you don't have to look through and be surprised at finding a B flat. Okay? So So did everybody find it? Okay, so I'm going to count 1, 2, and we're in with all the C's. Okay? 1, 2. The next thing I'd like to do is 5 easy celebrations. Where did I put the 5 easy celebrations?
So if you're on A and G and F, you would.
Okay, so my dear readers, here's what we're looking for when we're seeing the 5 easy celebrations. But I should have a standing name. They're really not that easy.
That's why I said it was not easy.
I don't think I passed them out to the people in the back yet. Do you have a 5 easy? Oh, you do. 5 easy celebrations. That should be one of the first things in the binder.
Yes, it's in the binder.
All right. If you look at celebration number 1, and sit down for just a second so I can talk you through these. There are, as I said, 5 of them in this collection. What I like about them is they're only 2 pages long, no page turns involved. Secondly, in each one of them, between measures 9 and 16, there's a contrasting articulation. Sometimes just for the bass ringers, sometimes for just the treble. So, but the tricky thing is, the way they publish this, it says in measure 9 and in measure 10 and 11, measures 9 and 10 show you the articulation. Then you just have to remember to do the same thing all the way through measure 16. So it takes a little while for beginning ringers to remember all that. So you can go ahead and mark that if you want, or just make sure that people know between 9 and 16 something unusual is happening. And speaking of marking music, or if you want to start me on a theme, it is the color coding. We don't read colors, we read music. So if you could please not do that. Before I started at Our Lady of Fatima, way before, I cleaned out the whole choir area. And these markers and pencils, they're just in the garbage. So when the dear ringers came back, I said, "There's my pink marker." I said, "It's gone. It's a whole new world. We are reading music." And it's okay with me if they use their number 2 pencil and either write the letter name above their note, because that'll help them eventually learn to read that note. If they have to circle their note, okay, fine. But we're not going to put a line through a note in a color. That just gets so distracting. And I think Kevin was telling me that his ringers used to do that. And they themselves decided, it's just distracting. I can't stand to look at this anymore. And if you have 2 people on a part, and you use purple and green, and you use blue and brown, there's colors everywhere. And how do you know what you're trying to read? So I would really like you to, as a wise woman said to me, begin as you wish to proceed. So begin by saying, you may use a number 2 pencil judiciously. I just, don't get me started on that. So,
Can I add something to that?
Oh, please.
Red highlights the next week, and then the blue highlights the next week.
I just had a ringer from St. Teresa's group say to me, and she came in later. We were ringing for, I think, 2 years, and then she joined. And as she can read, sort of. You know what I'm talking about. Well, between her and her partner, they had stuff all over that. Put this down and pick that. Here's all you need to do. Here's a note. There's a note. And you've got an accidental coming up. Okay, so take this one, arrow down.
Yeah.
If this was B natural, then you need to pick up B flat. That's all you need to put.
I don't even put the B flat at the bottom.
Okay, whatever, yeah. That's all you need to do, rather than put down writing, put down B, pick up B flat. Because by the time you read all that, those notes are passed. So,
So the minimal, we do the minimalistic approach.
yeah.
Yeah, if at all possible. So if we could take a look at celebration number 1, even if we just get through part of it. It's a lot of quarter notes and half notes. Okay. Again, the bells needed chart is up above, and oh, I'm sorry, I can't read this upside down. I believe they're all. Oh, there's an F sharp in it, of course. F sharp in the key signature.
She already had her.
Oh, you little show off, you.
Yes, she did.
Okay. And is there an empty binder back there so I can use that copy? Thank you.
Okay, now make sure you look very intense because this is going to be on,
Oh, good. Oh,
on
good.
our website.
I got extra notes.
So make sure your face looks like you're really enjoying yourselves.
Oh, and you're all superior. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we have the right bells in our hands. That's one other thing that we learned from John Woodall, you read it. Right at the top of your music, 2 letter names. Those are the notes that should be in your hands to start the piece. So, whatever your position is, you want to have your starting notes clearly marked so that you know what to do. So measures 1 through 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Mallets for the beginning of measure 9 and keep malleting through 16. So bass ringers, do you all have your mallets? Okay, so we're starting right at measure 9. So, yeah, oh sorry, somebody turned yours around. 1, 2, measure 9. 1, 2. Practice the last couple measures the most in my bell choir because whatever happens, we're going to end. So one of our pieces that we played yesterday ended with a malleted note off the table. So here's what we did: just pick up 1 bell and make sure you have a mallet in your hand. The measure previous to that, I think, was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, rest, and then we malleted the last note. We were having trouble getting that last note together. So we all said, we counted out loud as the people were ringing their particular parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, rest, 1. And we just kissed the bell. And the mallet was just perfect, just a little boom. So let's all count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, rest. It was a great way to end. So you remember when you mallet right in the same place that the clapper would hit on the inside, on the side closest to you. Yeah. Don't mallet this way, in front. Yeah. But hold the bell up.
Listen, ice cream's gonna be on me.
have a seat. And I know it's 3 o'clock, so that's that. I wanted to just show you one of the organizational thing that I do for every mass that goes on in any parish where I've ever been. And I'm sure you guys have some kind of liturgy sheet that you do. So what I like to do for the bells is I print in bold everything the bells are going to be ringing, so that helps them to know, what they're doing. The cantor knows that the bells are going to be ringing on the stuff in bold and all that jazz. The other thing, and I know you do all this, when the bells have finished the piece that they are currently playing, then I try to train them to immediately turn the page. Immediately turn that page. Of course, you're going to pay attention to what's going on at Mass, but you can also just kind of see what's coming up and think to yourself, oh, wait a minute, I need a B flat for that piece. Or you can sort of be thinking, and so I would suggest that you do that. Follow your list, turn the page immediately, be ready for the next thing. And there's other stuff, but we could go on forever. So I hope that this gave you some idea of what some of the fun things are to do with bells. And if we could we just pray one thing together and then we'll send you on your way. It's in your stuff. There's one for you to read at home. An exorcist explains why the devil hates bells so much. It's really fun to read that. But the next one is what we're going to read today.
Yes. The resources on the table over there are things that we have gleaned from over the past 30 years. So feel free to take a look at anything. Those are not for taking, but if you want to write down whatever's there and get it for yourself, particularly the All You Read book. Yeah, and the reproducible books. Just have a look at them.
And we hope that helps. Okay, so anybody from C5 down, we're going to read this antiphonally. Okay, so we're going to start here, and the rest of you guys will do the other. Okay, so starting with below the 3 stars, we're going to start there. So here we go. Bells are meant to remind us that God alone is good, that we belong to Him, that we are not living for this world. They break in upon our cares in order to remind us that all things pass away and that our preoccupations are not important. Okay. They speak to us of our freedom, which responsibilities and transient cares make us forget. They are the voice of our alliance with the God of heaven. They tell us that we are His true temple. They call us to peace with Him within ourselves. The Gospel of Mary and Martha is read at the end of the blessing of the church bell in order to remind us of all these things. The bells say, this does not matter. Rest in God and rejoice, for this world is only the figure and the promise of the world to come. And only those who are detached from transient things can possess the substance of an eternal promise. The bells say, we have spoken for centuries from the towers of great churches. We have spoken to the saints, your fathers, in their land. We call them, as we call you, to sanctify. What is the word that we call? And then all together, we did not merely say, be good, come to church. We did not merely say, keep the commandments, but above all, Christ is risen, Christ is risen. And we said, come with us, God is good, salvation is not hard, His love has made it easy. And this, our message, has always been for everyone, for those who came and for those who did not come. For our song is as perfect as the Father in heaven is perfect, and we pour our charity out upon all. That's from one of my favorite guys, Thomas Merton. So God bless you all, and email us if you need anything. Thank you again, Kevin, and thank you to